The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here he is, Brandon.
Welcome to the Brandon Peters Show for the final installment of Tarkovsky's Tales, a retrospective of the films of Andrei Tarkovsky. And joining me, as always, one more time for Chicago TARDIS, author of Red, White, and Who, and a man when he spins, you listen, you move, Stephen Hill. Stephen Warren Hill. Stephen Warren Hill. Today we're talking about Tarkovsky's final film, 1986's The Sacrifice. But before we dive into that one, Stephen, how have you felt about this retrospective along the way? It's been a month. I mean, we've spent most of the year on it, but...
Oh, well, I've certainly had a good time, enjoyed it. It forced me to finally get around to rewatching some of the movies that I hadn't seen in a really long time, because... You know, I will, if I'm going to watch, I do tend to go for the easy ones, the favorite ones. So, you know, it forced me to get nostalgia out. Finally watch that again, for example.
You finally crossed the pool with the candle.
Yeah, finally made it. But it's been nice. It's, I've learned things, and I feel like I've had some insights maybe that I haven't had in the past. So, and I've enjoyed discussing them a lot with you.
Yeah, likewise. I've really enjoyed this. I think one of the things too is that's I've enjoyed is, since they're in such direct proximity watching together, there's connections maybe I noticed before, or maybe I'm noticing for the first time, or seeing things in a different light because we're watching them, you know, we were watching him once a month and seeing things that handshake another film, or look like he's given something another shot, or, oh, I just like this kind of thing. And then getting your perspective on things as well, and your insight and background, because you've read a lot more than I have up on Tarkovsky, has added to my enjoyment and appreciation for his work as well. It's been a fun trip. This was the right filmmaker to do it. I like that he has finite work, but he's got such a distinct, limited amount of work that it just makes it, the body of work, strong as a whole. Whereas like there are, you know, entries we don't like as much as others, but when you put him in the story of his catalog, there's appreciation, there's likes and stuff like that, and like it has a place, it has a purpose, whether we are attached to it or not. I think we both have an appreciation for its existence, and understand what he's going for, even if we're like, it doesn't connect with me as much. That. So very much. So I guess, we will make our way into 1986's The Sacrifice. directed by Tarkovsky, written by just Andrei Tarkovsky. Normally, there's a
Mhm.
little bit of added help or assistance with it. And it stars Erland Josephson, Susan Fleetwood, Alan Edwall. Uh, this is a name. Guaran Gislatidor. It's got a lot of tildes and accents over the letters. Sven Volter, Valerie Marais, Flippa Franzen, and Tommy Kjelkust. This is at the dawn of World War III. A man searches for a way to restore peace and the world, and he finds he must give something in return.
Mhm.
This film, notably, is you could say Tarkovsky's Bergman film in more ways than one because behind the scenes he uses a lot of Bergman's crew, including his known cinematographer Sven Nykvist, and one of Bergman's kids works on this one as well. Um, and it was filmed in Sweden, of course. And yeah, it is this is a hell of a final picture, which considering his health, you gotta assume he knew
I
somewhat
think, yeah.
because there's don't want to say disturbing, but quite the message of this picture and the message he has on his career as a whole is right here encompassing in a grand conclusion. And I don't know many people's works who pan out this way. But Stephen, your thoughts on the sacrifice?
This one falls as my number three
Hmm.
favorite. Um, it goes Andrei Rublev, Stalker, Sacrifice.
All right.
Um, and I think it actually may be because, as maybe disappointing as it is, this one seems to have a more straightforward narrative structure, more Western than uh, than he has delivered in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's more graspable. It's more. Um, it, I will not deny that he leaves a lot of questions unanswered because he even says he deliberately leaves
Mm-hmm.
a lot of questions unanswered in this movie. Um, so, but I do think that it's once your brain has figured out what you think what happens in this movie, it makes sense and it happens kind of quickly in your brain. So faster than his other movies. Like I still can't necessarily figure out the narrative of Mirror. Like I get what it's about, but I don't grasp a story. I grasp a story easily in this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the biggest difference, and probably maybe the reason I like this one as much as I do. Although, yeah, it does have an awful lot going for it too, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
uh, the cinematography is absolutely beautiful.
Dynamite, yeah.
Everything looks wonderful, and I mean, this definitely contributed to me being a Sven Nykvist fan.
Mm-hmm.
If you could call yourself a fan of a cinematographer, and
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
you can.
Roger
So yeah,
Deakins is
right.
one of the best. Yeah,
Yeah.
love him. Yeah.
So this is a great example, and uh, this is also a very good, probably one of the best examples for Tarkovsky of him making sure that everything in the frame is exactly how he wants it. I know we've said that about all of his other movies essentially, but this movie really, really shows it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of there's a shot, um, it's more than halfway through the film when uh, Alexander he goes to a wardrobe and he closes the door and then he kind of crosses the room halfway. So he's on the right side of the frame and the wardrobe is on the left. And
Mm-hmm.
the door, which the face of the door has a mirror on it. It starts to swing and creak open again, and it stops just at the right point to pick him center in the mirror. So now he's standing here in the frame, and the mirror is here, and we see him in the mirror at the same time. Now, there's only one way you could get that door to swing open and stop at exactly the
Mm-hmm.
right point, and that is to pre-plan it and make sure that you've rigged something or there's somebody hiding inside or something that you've worked it out.
Yeah.
And that's just one example
Can I
of
make a comment on that moment? Because I have a note there too, because it's very interesting. Because in nostalgia, he does sort of a similar trick where our main character is looking in the mirror and they bend it open and then it goes to an older person
mm,
and
hmm
it's switching. It's like, oh, whoa.
hmm
And this one, he does the trick, and the older person, it's the old person, and they're still old. And it's like, nah, it's here. You're done. Like, it kind of,
yeah.
like the last one's like, hey, it's coming. And this kind of feels like it's here. And knowing the finality that this film is, it's his last film. He passes away shortly after it's released. Like, that's kind of creepy to me. Like,
Mm,
I noticed that touch with, like, nostalgia did a similar thing. And it was like a young guy creaking it and becoming old and like seeing it in the future. And now it's like it does that same trick, but oh, it's still him. He's still
hmm
it's like, oh yeah, you are old, man.
Yeah.
It is here.
Yeah.
So that's just one thing I kind of noted here with that one. But continue, go ahead.
Yeah. So that that's we get more a little bit of there's only one shot that I think I noticed where it was raining inside, or at least there was a lot of dripping water indoors. To not as prominent as in his other movies, but we
Hmm.
also get this camera panning slowly over partly waterlogged
Right.
grounds, and those and a mixture of black and white and color, trees, all these things that we've noticed as recurring motifs in his work. They're all here too, um, including the not really explaining things and not really sure exactly what happened, but you
Hmm.
think you think you're pretty sure you know exactly what happened.
Everybody comes out with their own idea.
So I think it's a beautiful film. Oh, levitating. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yes,
we've
yes,
done the
yeah.
levitating before,
Hmm.
um, and yeah, it's I for some reason also this just occurred to me, but I like I don't know why the characters lapsing from one language into another every once in a while.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, sometimes they change, and I mean, I only really notice them when they change to English for a
Yeah.
few words. But I know that they're also changing bits of phrases, speaking in another language.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that there's any significance to any of that or not. But I like it. I like hearing a couple of words in English.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, well, your own language catches you off guard. You're like, "Wait, did I become fluent in this? Is the TARDIS around and it's making me uh
hmm
translating for me? Are we the translator?" Yeah, it is always interesting when stuff go blah blah. It's like blah 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 English right away. Now you
Yeah.
understand. You're like, "What?" And then back to another language. Yeah. Um yeah, this certainly is a magnificent. Like this film looks humongous, even though
Mhm.
it's a tale of just people in a house talking for most of it, which
Yeah. Yeah.
someone like Tarkovsky can make exciting. Yeah, and you were talking about like I think one of the things with the most straightforward nature, this feels like it could be a stage play as well. Like you
Yeah.
could pull this off on a stage, like,
Uh-huh.
and I think that kind of helps to its sort of easy to access nature of it, and it's one of his films that's told in a single locale pretty much in a
Yeah.
single a smaller amount of time that passes like we Stalker had it was in a shorter period, but like we traveled a lot in that movie. and
Yeah.
and nostalgia was over a period of some days. Traveling, Solaris is in space, mirrors all over the place. Andrei Rublev is over a grand period. Like, it's kind of interesting that he slows down here. Like, for a
Hmm.
slow filmmaker, he slows down as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is full of his classic long. I think this has like
Oh yeah.
an insanely low amount of shots in a movie. I think
Right.
it's like just barely over 100, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah.
a lot of this has a lot of left to right pans
Yes.
and or right to left as well. And I think that like I feel like he found a strength in that and nostalgia and puts it on full display here because
Hmm.
there's some really good stuff in nostalgia doing those little dollies across the screen, and I think he kind of like masters it even more here. The color timing is what's interesting here. Is it's got um that sort
Mm.
of look that we were talking about him making Italy look so
Yeah.
dour and rainy, and it's
Yeah.
it's it's here too. But with Sweden and being Bergman stuff, you're like, yeah, this is what it looks like. Uh,
Yeah.
that's what you go
All the
for.
indoor stuff in the house, it's dark because it's naturally lit.
Yeah.
And not to the extent of Barry Lyndon by
Hmm.
Kubrick, very muted. It's more natural.
Yeah.
So there's that, and the outdoor. I don't think there's any scene with direct sunlight.
No. No.
Outdoors is always overcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Definitely.
bright. It's not dark. It's bright, but it's still no blue sky and sunshine.
It's bright enough to come through the windows, which I noticed there's a lot of moments of people sitting outside by a window or standing by one.
Mm,
Happens a lot in this film. Looking on the outside, like just keeping themselves entrapped in here as we later, about what halfway through we find out World War III has begun outside, but has it?
or
Or are they
has it?
freaking,
Yes.
they hear planes going above and are they freaking out? Is it because
Mm,
nothing's happening around them, but
hmm.
they lose their minds over it, which is, you know,
Yeah. And just stepping back a minute,
uh-huh.
just a moment ago, you mentioned the panning.
Yeah.
He does that in the scene where the airplanes are, they hear the airplanes. The family members are basically running across the room
Mm-hmm.
against each other to look out the opposite window.
Yeah.
And he pans and he follows one of them, and he follows the other one, and he follows, and that's a good example of him using the panning and extending a shot rather than cutting,
Mm-hmm.
making the shot last. The last scene, we'll get to the last scene. That would be the ultimate example, but I'm gonna not get into that yet.
Right. Yeah. Um, in this movie also it has some of the oddity from it where it gets a little bit confusing. Maybe because I was reading that this originates from a script called The Witch, which was
uh,
more
uh,
paranormal, had to do with witch, and some of that still remains in this
mm.
with the is it the daughter character
Well, I think the implication
and
is
this
that
yeah.
Maria is the witch.
Yeah.
Um, I know I've never really figured out or tried to figure out the daughter.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm not that she's not important, but she has less to do than the other characters.
Yeah, the protagonist in the witch script from what I read had cancer, was told to meet this witch woman, and after being with the witch woman, he no longer had the cancer.
Mm, okay.
And then here I don't know what it brings. It's a segment that really stands out in this thing because it's absolutely kind of normal until that factor starts coming in.
It really is, yes. It,
Um,
it it really is. Surprisingly so, even.
which is like, so there's so many touches of his other movies I can see in this, and that would be my what Stalker brings to it, because it's like, is this what the daughter from Stalker grows up to be,
Hmm.
type thing,
Yeah.
with like powers and things like that. And
Hmm.
there's nature. This one had a lot of like, reminded me a lot of like Mirror, too. This house out in nowhere, and when we get to what happens to that house,
Right.
of course, there's the tree from Ivan's childhood, like stuff. Like it's like this is the big finale. It all got to this. Like the house doing weird stuff is like the house at the end, like with the well, more so not weird stuff, but when the planes and stuff are going over and the shaking and it's kind of like Solaris when it's all going to hell in the end when he
Mhm.
goes to what we assume is the fake house, which then we have the little model house that feels like it's yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all here.
Yeah.
It's all like and I don't think and the thing is I don't think he's doing it intentionally except for maybe the Ivan's childhood touch. I think
Mhm.
it just all is naturally coming out of him and us here, for almost 40 years since this film came out can study it and look upon and see this, but I don't know if people were seeing it back then or looking onto it as much as maybe we are, but like
Mhm.
it's all here. There's also there's Andrei Rublev, there's paintings playing a role in this
Ah,
thing.
yeah.
Like
Right.
Andrei Rublev, there's the idea of art and authenticity that go with it. And it's fascinating to me. Like this film is just like I can't wait to look at it again because it's such a fascinating thing when you think of life and the art of it and what this film is. And this is like true. Like this is why, um, creators, visionary. This is what a visionary is. It's not the Russo brothers. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Yeah.
No matter, even if you put it on a trailer, it doesn't mean it. But like this is what, yeah, this is a voice. This is a thing. This is what you get when you let someone, you trust someone, you give someone money to make the film, like let them make their film. And yeah, it's crazy if you're a
And
film enthusiast. Yeah.
I almost think that you could call this his most accessible film too
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
general audiences. I know how we think. I know that we think we would recommend Stalker or Solaris probably, but we know our audience. We know who to recommend those movies to.
Right.
If
Yeah.
you don't know the tastes of somebody that you're going to make, what Tarkovsky movies should I watch? Sacrifice, I think, would be the one that I would suggest to most people
Hmm.
to be easiest to grasp. Going back to what I was talking about earlier, but I think it's his most accessible film.
Oh, you weren't gonna go with Mirror for people for the first? Well, and to that, like with Stalker and Solaris, you have to be a genre. You kind of have to be a genre fan, but you also have to be a specific kind of fan within that genre
Yeah,
to
that's a good
to
point.
to like them too. And this,
Right.
like I said, this if you're like a period drama fan, um, cinematography person, you like stage plays, you like one room story. Like I think this one can fit the bill. And yeah, it's very narratively sound, um, start to finish. It's
And if you're gonna recommend a movie to somebody who's not going to watch a foreign language film, then they're not going to watch it anyway. So,
oh yeah, right. And I
so they
mean,
should know what they're getting into.
but I honestly think in our modern climate, like watching things in a language foreign to them is done like people are more okay with it now than they ever have been. There
Interesting.
there there
Okay.
are people I hear a lot of times like people watch stuff in their native tongue with subtitles on
Oh yeah,
nowadays.
that's
So
true for sure. Yeah.
I think that yeah, we're at a time like when you see things like Squid Game being super popular that tell I hope they're watching it with the native language. Some of those dubbings have been on things have been oof, but I think people or Narcos, things like that, like Netflix, for as much of a villain as I want to paint it sometimes, has brought some good habits to people
Mm,
and gotten their curiosity to check out things that maybe aren't in their own language. So,
yeah. And for what it's worth, I think anime has had a lot to
oh
do with
yeah,
the
yeah.
acceptance of other languages and watching subtitled things.
And you always get that same comment. I didn't even notice after 5 minutes. I would, yeah, yeah. I heard you. Welcome to the world.
But the thing about sacrifice is also if you want to, I've talked before about how you have to bring yourself you have to slow your own personal pace down
Mm-hmm.
to get into the groove with Tarkovsky. And this movie starts with a what 20-minute scene that is also one shot,
Oh
basically,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't slow down to a single shot that lasts 20 minutes, I don't think there's any hope for you to watch any other
Right.
Tarkovsky movies.
Also, to
I
add
wish
to
you could. I want you
right.
to slow down, but because I love that scene. I think it's a
Uh-huh.
fantastic opening scene. The bookend, the opening scene, the closing
Mm-hmm.
stuff, just
Well,
wonderful, wonderful stuff. Go ahead. I'm
there.
sorry,
Well,
I
no, no.
jumped in on
There's
you.
there's an added brilliance to that opening 20-minute scene, is the blocking of it and stuff.
Mm,
Because
mm.
as we start, we have two. We have a boy and Alexander, and then we have the friend that comes in,
Otto, yeah,
Otto. But for a lot of that 20 minutes, for I'd say good three-quarters of it, they are just figures in the back.
yeah, they're way,
They're
way
little.
off in the
We
distance.
don't get a good look at their face until they're about medium range to finish out the scene. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is crazy. Like we don't know
Mhm.
what the face of these people. We don't know what our these characters' face looks like. Well, like I assume it's this guy. You know, this guy,
Mhm.
and we don't see their face or get a good look at them until they start walking toward. We
Yeah, they
pan
get
over and they
closer
start
and
walking towards.
closer.
I'm like, that is just gutsy
Yeah, it
to
is.
do as a filmmaker. That's the trust you build with the audience. So he knows if you know their face like looks like, then you stayed long enough, you're probably gonna stay for the see this thing out. But it yeah, for to have them so distant, not performing a whole lot of action. I mean, plants that tree to start, but yeah, it's a long time before you see their faces. But yeah, and there's plenty of close up moments and stuff in this
Oh
film,
yeah,
but
usually.
they aren't necessarily zooms. Like they're like I said, he does the left to right panning, so we'll be with people who are standing tall and come over and finish the scene with two people talking close up, but we just panned over, and that's just it's so brilliantly staged, and yeah, the cinematography in this, like, I mean, for a guy whose career is probably one of the top things people talk about is the cinematography of his films. He sure goes out on a high, and an innovative high, and in a way we've seen and haven't seen from him before.
Hmm.
I need to
Hmm.
stop drooling over the sacrifice. Uh, but it's just just thinking of the finality of it all. It's just wow. Like this was it.
Mm.
Like you needed to go out on something big, and I'm pretty sure he did. Um, I know there's people who's probably not their cup of tea, but yeah, it's quite interesting, quite reflection. This Alexander character is super interesting because I mean, we start. He's giving words of wisdom, telling tales, and then like
Mhm.
the doctor comes in. He's like, "Oh, I hate this guy's monologues."
Yeah, he does say
Like
that.
what? I was enjoying what I was like. I was getting life with
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, it's pretty funny, but then we find out the boy really liked the monologues at the end and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
So, um, and the doctor's not family anyway, so
Although, yeah,
yeah,
I'm not so sure.
not so sure. Yeah, there's something going on. Yeah, there's
You know,
definitely something
she
going on.
she outright says, I fell in love with one man and married another,
Right.
and you have to figure she's talking about the doctor, Victor, I think is his
Mm-hmm.
name, and it, are Alexander's kids actually Alexander's kids?
Right. Yeah. True.
I'm not so sure. Hopefully, everything was above board, but you just never know.
Mm-hmm.
There's implications there, and there's no answers. So there, you can come up with whatever conclusions you want to come up with.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
this movie doesn't linger on that stuff.
Right.
So I think it is a little bit interesting that there is these hints of domestic unhappiness. Um, and then when he wakes up the next day and everything is reset, if you will allow me to assume that that is exactly what happens,
Yeah.
um, which is debatable, his life goes right back to the domestic squabbling, the domestic
Mm-hmm.
unease and weirdness, right? Which uh, when he looks up and he tells God that he will sacrifice something if only God would reset what has happened that day, which, as far as we know, is the start of World War III, but we don't really know any details. And when he does that, and then he wakes up the next day and things are reset, it is the fulfillment of his faith. It's the movie showing us that faith is an honest uh, wage to pay
Mm-hmm.
for your desires, right? And selfless desire, because the sacrifice is, as Otto says, there's no what does he say? There's no sacrifice without uh, selflessness. I can't remember exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that becomes true. So this is the meat of the movie. This is the where the movie reaches its crux. Like um, everything is going fine. Oh, and I have to stop and mention right before this things start going crazy. They hear the right before they hear the airplanes and the house starts shaking and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Otto, who is the mailman and he's visiting and he's inside the house, he's talking about this map that he has framed and brought as a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And he's standing there in the living room and he suddenly just drops to the floor. He goes, and he hits the floor. And you're like, what the hell just happened? he's
Yeah.
fine 1 second, and all of a sudden he reacts to something, and bam, he's down on the floor. That is the first weirdness of this movie, really.
True.
But then moments later, they're trying to. He's fine. He just hit his head when he fell onto the floor. And he gets up again, but that's when the airplanes cross overhead. And then later we hear radio. So we're led to believe, and that description of the plot that you read at the beginning of this
Mm-hmm.
video was, I mean, it left no ambiguity.
Right. Yeah.
Description, right? It was like at the beginning of World War III.
At the dawn of World War III.
So, yeah, we figure something horrible has happened. They're listening to the radio, and his wife freaks out, right? And I mean, this is a real freak out. So much so that the doctor has to sedate her because she will not stop hysterically crying.
Mm-hmm. Get the needles out.
Yeah. And then there's that moment too when he's going to sedate the daughter too, and she says, no, don't do it. No, I don't want it. No, no. And he does it anyway. Consent. Oh boy, that bugs me now. But
yeah,
I don't know if it would stand out to a viewer in 1986 at all. But
he's also on a house call and seems to be a person who is obsessed with control a little bit. So
a little bit, yeah, yeah. Anyway, I think so. Alexander sees. We have to believe that they believe that World War III has started, or at least something horrible has happened in the world, because they're talking about, even the doctor says we could go up north where things are quieter. So are there bombs flying? Is there fallout coming?
they're in
We don't-
open space, so maybe
don't
they would be
know.
used as the battleground
It's
in Sweden.
in Sweden. We just don't know.
Yeah.
But that's the meat of the story. There is Alexander says to God, if you will reset things back to the way they were before today, I will make the ultimate sacrifice. I will give up everything I have. And when he wakes up the next day, whether or not you believe what Otto had him go do, sleep with the maid, who's a witch, and because that would also fix the problem. I don't know. Regardless, ignore that. He wakes up the next day and everything seems to be back to normal. Now you're Alexander. You've made this promise to God, and God has delivered, apparently. Now you have to fulfill that promise. And that's how the movie ends. And I'll let you, because I've basically outlined the plot
Right.
there.
Oh, you're fine.
And I want to make sure that you don't want to talk about any of that before we.
Well, like, yeah, it's really weird. Like but maybe part of going to sleep with the maid fulfills the prophecy of there's no turning back. My wife will find out about this, and that'll be the end of us. So that's doing something to ensure that separation,
Mhm.
potentially. I don't know.
But then, if that's the case, why would Otto tell Alexander to do that rather than Otto go do it himself?
Maybe he feels that Otto is a messenger because
I like that.
he brings him mail.
Yeah.
He brings him the gift of the map, which they're like, oh, this has to be a copy. He's like, no, it's the actual thing. So they believe he brings the truth. He brings
Hmm.
authenticity, genuine stuff. So maybe he sees him as a messenger, and once he's spoken to God, and God has spoken to him through Otto to give him the first step. And
Damn, I love that.
these are the kind of reaches we do on Tarkovsky. This is what
No,
he does.
that is
Yeah.
fantastic.
So
Yeah.
so there's that. And yeah, and it's also too like, is this just coincidence?
Hmm.
Like with when you go to a deity and stuff like that, is this coincidence? Is he, but just to announce a World War III and then the next day go, whoo, we kind of jumped the gun, folks.
Hmm.
That's that's huge. That's like, yeah, you don't announce World War and then like a couple days later, or even hours later,
Yeah, hours
like,
later.
you know what? We're not going to World War. Sorry.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, so he takes that as a holy crap. This is, in order to keep this, I have to do what I'm going to do, which is burn my house down.
Yep.
Which incredible fire
Yeah.
on film. It just thing roared, and it's the
One
second time
shot.
they had to do it
Yes.
because when they
It's
did,
the most astonishing
they
thing.
built this house for the movie, and when they burned it the first time, the camera jammed. And Tarkovsky was adamant, the cinematographer Nikos, he wanted to use two cameras on the film, and Tarkovsky said no, one, and then it bit
Mhm.
him in the ass with the most important shot to get. So they had 2 weeks, and they rebuilt the house.
Mhm.
And what we see now is what we have, and it even cut short because they ran out. The reel ran out when they were shooting it. So it's not even as long as he intended.
Yeah.
But this is a roaring fire that we
It's
watch. Like he puts all his
unbelievable.
wooden things together in the house. Everybody's off. Everybody goes out, and then he's in his robe, and he lights it all up on fire. And somehow an ambulance shows up, or a loony
Mhm.
bin pickup grabs
Yeah.
him.
Not
Don't
really
know
sure,
how.
but yeah.
There's no real presence of phones in this, right? That I can
Right.
remember.
Well, he
So,
does make a phone
oh, he
call
does make a okay.
the day after um
Mm,
to his work, or something like that, and
okay.
everything sounds like nothing ever happened. So
Yeah,
that's more of the evidence that he goes on that
that's right.
the reset actually did happen. So I want to talk just
Hmm.
for a moment about the significance, what I think is important about the shot of him setting the fire. So
Yeah.
um, we just watched Nostalgia, which had ended with a guy crossing a pond, a pool,
Hmm.
with a candle in his hand, making sure that the candle wouldn't go out. The flickering flame of a single candle wick, right?
Right.
This fire, this massive conflagration that just consumes 3/4 of the screen starts with him striking a match. He's piled up chairs, like he said. He's taken
Mm-hmm.
all the wood stuff, piled it up. There's a sheet, and he takes a single match, strikes the match, and he tries to light the corner of the sheet and fails with the first match. And he
Mm-hmm.
has to strike a second match, and it catches. And it's an astonishing way of showing first of all, just the primal power of fire, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
once it gets going, it's not going to freaking stop.
Right.
But how fast it goes, how fast it burns, how fast it spreads, how easily and quickly it spreads. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking of the shot, I keep saying the shot. It's all one shot.
It is, yeah.
But when the camera is on the house and the car parked not
Oh, yeah,
exactly
yeah,
up
yeah.
against the house, but some
Close by.
slight distance forward, and boom, it goes up
Yeah.
because there's so much heat from that fire. The house is burning. And then I love, especially going back again to what you said about the pans. This is all one shot from the first the moment we cut from him setting the fire and going outside of the house. We're in the last shot. We're in that big, however long it lasts. I don't
Yeah.
know, 15 minutes, whatever. The house is sort of barely burning. You can see that the fire is only on the first floor right now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sort of confined to the middle. But the camera amazingly follows Alexander as he walks away from the house. There's a house burning, and the camera pans away from it. And you think instinctually, you think the audacity of this guy.
Right.
How all we see now is Alexander walking, and he walks a little bit farther, and then we see his friends running towards the house because they can see that it's on fire, it's smoking. And then he turns around and he goes back, and the camera pans back with him. And when we get back to the house, the whole thing is on fire.
Oh, yeah.
And we've only been away we can't have been away for more than like 45 seconds. And it's gone from this first floor middle to the whole thing is burning. And then
Like
we
California
do it again.
wildfire. It went from campfire to California wildfire
Yeah.
in no time. Yeah.
And then we do it again. We pan away from the house again. Right? And when we come back, it's the biggest inferno. And you can see now the wood beams that are the only thing that's left. Everything else is burned. And then the camera stays on it. We follow the ambulance as after Alex. I don't want to get into. I'm not really sure. I've always been a little bit uncomfortable with the borderline slapstick of him running away, almost Benny Hill like, trying to get away from the people chasing him.
Tarkovsky goes for the Monty Python and the Holy Grail ending for his career for this one.
That's like the only flaw that I can apply to this movie. But
it's too instant, and like, how did they know? Where did they come? Like, yeah.
But okay, get back to the burning house. Now the camera stays on it finally until the thing collapses. And for the times that we've seen burning houses in Tarkovsky films, nothing has prepared us for this. I mean, this is 10, 20, 100 times more massive than the burning houses that we've seen in previous Tarkovsky films. And it's funny to say that, but yeah, there have been burning houses in a lot of his films.
Mirror looks like a sparkler compared to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is absolutely, and no question about it, one of the most amazing and impressive finishes of any movie. I know there's a scene, a conclusion scene after, but I'm going to call this the last big scene, right? And I imagine that most people watching this have seen Sacrifice. If you haven't, you must. You must. And just don't turn it off until the end. Or if you do get bored with it, please fast forward to the end and watch the end, because you will be just amazed at what they pulled off. And like you said, that was the second take. They had to
Right.
rebuild the house and burn it down again.
Yeah, it's just interesting because you're just sitting here, you're in awe of the fire. You're like, wow, what's going on? And then like you watching the people freak out. But this is like, with him, he's making the sacrifice, but he is also creating a point of no return. Like
Yeah.
this isn't, someone's going to investigate. It's no accident. It's going to come down that he did it. They're going to be like, you destroyed all our home and all our stuff. Like,
Hmm.
and you slept with a mate. Like, what in the hell? Like,
Yeah. What?
he's making sure that like they're never going to want to talk to me again.
And
And
if there was a World War III
hmm
starting and God did reset it, he can't explain that. He can't give that as an
right,
explanation.
right,
That's not going to get him anywhere.
yeah, it was going to keep him
Unless
in the
people
loony
have
bin.
enough faith. You
Right.
got to have faith and believe him.
Yeah. There you
Nobody's going
go.
to have as much faith as he did. I mean, and this movie is the evidence of that.
hmm Yeah, and it's because they have like it's not like really a beach property, but like it's kind of got water and stuff. It's
Yeah.
just it's out in this open area and just watching the thing where it's dangerous to watch. Like feeling, it's just like, holy cow, who put that out? Like how do I that after this take and that car blowing up is really close. I feel like was there I can't remember. Maybe I fell through, but like, wasn't someone like, "Let's go to the car"? Boom, and like,
Mm.
none of the characters were harmed or anything. But I feel
No,
like they
no.
were like, "Hey, we need to get the car," and then it blew up. Um, and
Well,
that car blowing up, that's dangerous too. It's just insanity.
and
Uh,
you have to wonder. uh, I mean, in my mind, that was set up in advance,
mhm.
rigged to blow and triggered by, deliberately at a specific time.
Yeah,
Even though it seems quite natural in the film, it's close enough to the house that the heat is going to ignite something.
right.
Um, I don't feel strongly that Tarkovsky leaves that much to chance,
Yeah,
especially when you know that this is the second time they shot it,
yeah.
which would mean that they had to blow up another car
That's true.
first.
Yeah, yeah. That looked just like the one that was already
Yeah,
previously seen in the movie.
yeah.
Or paint. Yeah, that's yeah, that's true.
That might be documented somewhere. I don't know if it is or
Yeah,
not.
I didn't read anything about the car. I read about the house.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, that's interesting. Maybe I didn't have time to watch it with the commentary on. Maybe they talked about that in
Neither
the
did I.
commentary.
Yeah,
Um Saw it on 4K Ultra HD from
I did too.
Kino, which is a beautiful transfer.
It is.
This was one of I think what was it? I read that this was the first film to be selected for digitization by the Swedish Film Institute.
Hmm.
That's
Nice.
pretty crazy.
Mhm.
It also won the Grand Prix at Cannes. Tarkovsky was unable to attend as he was ill with cancer. Died shortly after. Um, but yeah, this good stuff. He was moving. I mean, his last two films, he left the country and was making these movies. Italy, Sweden, going to where I feel like he was going to where his favorite filmmakers were making. They went with
Yeah.
Fellini because
Yeah.
as we'd heard too, when we did Voyage in Time, he was big on Bergman.
Yeah.
He loved Bergman, so he went over and tried to like I think he was trying to get in the shoes and the environment of these guys, and
I think so.
who knows where he would have gone next.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. Oh, the
Japan,
things that we can
Kurosawa.
imagine. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows where he would have traveled to create his next film. Um, I doubt he would ever come to the US, but
Hmm.
who knows? But yeah, I feel like that's what he was sort of signaling. He has only two films, so you don't know whether that was going to be the trend or not, but it feels like it. Because if I wouldn't have watched
Hmm.
Voyage in Time, I wouldn't have thought that. But because we watched Voyage in Time, I was like, oh, two of the filmmakers he specifically mentioned about stuff was Fellini and I think he said De Sica too in
Yeah.
there. So that would have been
Yeah.
Italy, and then
Hmm.
he mentions Bergman, and then that's his next film is where Bergman was using
Yeah.
Bergman's people. So he was maybe going on a tour, like my like me in your shoes type tour
Yeah,
with
yeah.
films, but we'll never know.
I can buy that as an explanation. I really can.
Yeah,
It seems sensible thing. Mm.
for sure. And so you mentioned your top three,
Mm.
Tarkovsky. I was going to ask later on, but my top three are it's going to still remain Solaris, Stalker, and then Andrei Rublev. But Stalker and Solaris are pretty close. Like I could change my mind tomorrow possibly. And I'm a huge Solaris fan, but I've this time around I was like, yeah, they're very close for me.
Uh-huh.
Stalker, Solaris, and Andre is just terrific. Very much so. I like it quite a bit. Do you have any more on Sacrifice?
Um, I think he made a great choice in a lead actor.
Oh yeah.
We
Oh.
saw Erland Josephson in Nostalgia,
Mm-hmm.
in a smaller part,
Yeah.
and he's good in that. And I think he was a good pick for this movie. So just and I like the rest of like Otto, for example. I think
Mm-hmm.
he's a really good supporting character. And I love your theory about him being the messenger.
Yeah.
That's that's so great.
Because he comes from. If you look at the screen in the opening too, I'm gonna go here. Just thought of this. If you look at the screen in the opening, he comes from above.
Hmm.
He comes from. So
It's true. It's
I'll
true.
keep adding to it with my bullshit. He comes from above. So bringing gifts and messages. So yeah. Yeah, no, he's great casting, and got to see it, got a taste of it in the last movie, and then just full display here. Just
Mhm.
yeah, terrific stuff. I didn't read or see anything about anybody being nominated or getting accolades for acting
Yeah.
in this one, but he definitely deserved that for sure. I believe this was a submission for Sweden for best international film on the Oscars possibly as
Okay.
well. It didn't make a top five finalist or anything like that, but this is what they wanted to submit. Nobody tried to block him by going, Tarkovsky's Russian, can't do that. So,
This would have been my fifth time seeing the movie.
okay. I think this is my
Um,
third.
my first time is I have it recorded as February 21st, 1999.
Mm.
And that would have been I bought the Laserdisc
Ah, okay.
for 51.95.
There you go. Nice. Hey, we're starting to pay that again for
Yeah,
for
yeah,
single
exactly.
movies. So yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, so I asked you in preparation for this episode for the last time, just to off air, folks. They're like,
Mhm.
you didn't ask him this, but because we're both big Doctor Who fans with this retrospective, one thing before we close it out, I wanted to see. I asked you what Doctor Who story you thought most resembled Andrei Tarkovsky. I have a pick, you
Yeah.
have a pick, and I mentioned that to you last time. So, do you have a pick?
I have to have two answers because,
Sure.
because as most Doctor Who fans do, I tend to think in classic series and
Ah,
new
yeah.
series
Fair
terms.
enough. I thought about that and I was like, I'm just gonna pick one. Just gonna pick one.
um, so I think for classic series, it's a lot harder
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
to find one that sort of
Yes.
works. And I'm gonna go with simply because it was based on heavily based on Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
Um, Scenes set in the Thera, the interstice between the Warriors Great Gate and
Oh
the
yeah,
time zone, the time winds.
that's
So
a
Warriors Gate, because it's a little bit surreal,
that's a good pick. Yeah.
and all that. That's the one I have to go with for a classic series. Now,
That's really good. That because I was struggling with I was like, when I was thinking about classic, I was like, yeah, and then you're saying, yeah, that one didn't cross my mind. Wow, very
um,
good.
I don't I can't remember the title of the new series episode. So you should go with your if you have a classic series pick. You may have just
I
picked
no,
one.
I only picked one, and
All right.
it is from Modern Who or New
Okay.
Who, as people have a whole lot of
Okay.
names.
Um, maybe you could just help me remember
Yeah. What if we
it.
have the same one? Maybe
Oh,
not.
yeah.
But okay.
Is no, was it? No, it wasn't. Give me a second because I think I can figure this out.
Who was the doctor?
Pretty sure it was Capaldi.
Oh, okay.
Um, although it's possible that it was Whitaker. Um,
Ooh.
and no, it's not that
My
season.
Mine is a Jodie Whittaker story.
Okay. Um, so, oh wait, is this the one? Yeah. Okay. It is a Whitaker episode. So
Oh, do we have the same one?
mine is It Takes You Away.
That was my pick. It was series 13, episode 9 from 2018. Yes, that was my pick. Oh, yes. And I'd known it for since that episode aired.
Yeah.
So when that episode aired, there were some people that did not care for it, and I was over the moon with it because I was like, "This is very Tarkovsky. This had all these Tarkovsky vibes and all this stuff. Like it was." And people were like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Andrei Tarkovsky. If you don't appreciate that, then you didn't get the episode." But I loved it because I returned to it just to check myself before this, but like
Okay. Hmm.
when they land the TARDIS and this opens, they're in a landscape that's very Tarkovsky. It's
Mm.
got the green, the way it's filmed. There's this, you know, they're out in some stretch of nowhere with this cabin house thing that looks like Tarkovsky. The interior's got this triangle architecture they filmed. Like it's that's really cool. There's a mirror world with loved ones that aren't quite who they are
Hmm.
that they're talking to with some loose baggage stuff. It's Graham and his wife, but Ryan's grandma, and the dad and the mom. It's like Solaris going to get the loved one. Like there's the frog feels like something Tarkovsky too
Yeah.
to me. But then there's it's vibes of Solaris, Mirror, and Stalker all right in there, and I was there for it when that episode. I was like, this is, and then it sucks that it's the second to last episode of that season. I was so high on that, and it gets followed with one of the like weakest finales in the history of Doctor Who. I was so bummed. I was like, you guys were on, you guys, like, I have a favorite from this season all timer because it was so Tarkovsky esque that, yeah. So, what your thoughts on that one as well?
I mean, I've seen it once,
Okay.
so I haven't
Okay.
had a chance
But
to
it
revisit
stuck
it
with
since
you
then.
that it had
It definitely
Tarkovsky.
did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
totally. And your question makes me think of a recommendation for what the first time I ever saw, I really overwhelmingly thought, oh my gosh, this guy is totally channeling Tarkovsky or making a Tarkovsky homage here.
Hmm.
And that is Lars von Trier's The Element of Crime.
Okay.
So if you're a Tarkovsky fan and you haven't had a chance to see The Element of Crime by Lars von Trier, give it a try. I think you'll find that it reminds you strongly of certain of Tarkovsky's techniques.
Yeah. Von Trier's pretty strong filmmaker too. He's
Hmm.
got a lot of crazy. I've never seen The Element of Crime, so I will mark that to check out. Um, right after we get done with this record. No, just kidding. But yeah, that's very cool. I like that recommendation. Yeah. So yeah, Steven, that's it.
Yeah.
We did it. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for the time and contributing this retrospective. It's Tarkovsky movies. While we love them, some of them are long, some of them are very involved. Like it's a thing. It's meant the world to me that you've done this, and I hope you felt it was worth your time and had
Oh, absolutely.
some fun along the way.
Absolutely, yes. And if you want to make any proposals for a follow-up series, you just let me know anytime you want.
Certainly will. Certainly will. We will, yeah, definitely figure out another one to do. This was a lot of fun. But in the meantime, where can people keep up with you?
I'm on Facebook, Stephen W. Hill, Stephen Warren Hill. That's my author name, so look for books by my author name, and on Twitch as DJ Steve Hill 950.
All right. At the time of this recording, I look forward to seeing you at Doctoberfest. But
Yeah.
for listeners, when this drops, I look forward to seeing you at Chicago TARDIS.
Excellent.
There
Awesome.
we go. So I'm on the socials at Brandon4KUHD. Reminder to subscribe to the YouTube channel for the ability to watch these episodes like this, or my 4K and Blu-ray reviews, or even bonus excerpts like the Cadavra segment from the last episode that got removed, and then I put it on YouTube. Next week, oh, Steven, you're gonna like this. I'm joined by Taylor Deathridge from Chicago Dardis and Alien Entertainment as we talk the top 10 scariest episodes of Doctor Who. This has been a very
Excellent.
Doctor Who infused month, so we're going to close it out. It's Doctober here on the Brandon Peters Show, I guess. So I hope you enjoy that. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, listeners, watchers, and as always, stay film positive.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.